I'm not going to take up space up here on the stage very long, but I did want to start off by asking a very general question, so we can have some context for director Will Bakke. I just wanted to give some background on yourself. So, what sorts of things, just a few things that led to this point in your life as a believer and a filmmaker?
Wow, that's a big question. Yeah, a lot of things have happened in my life that's gotten me here. So yeah, like I said earlier, I went to Baylor and and while I was there, I just felt like there weren't any, Christian films I could take my friends to or that I even liked in general. And so I set out on a couple road trips, made a couple documentaries, and the goal this entire time was to make a feature like this that was sarcastic, maybe a little mean, but hopefully we cut the jokes off of the actual gospel and more on the culture. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things. I think for us, we always believe that Christian films put a message before the story, and we just feel like the first thing should always be to tell a good story, and your worldview will come out of that. And so we had to make a lot of tough decisions. We had to make a lot of tough decisions making this, because there were times where we're like, all right, that's too cheesy, let's take that out, or we weren't sure how to. For instance, we didn't know if we should include swearing or not. Okay. We had some Christian distributors that were like, no way in hell, they didn't say that part, no way are we going to distribute a movie with swearing in it to Christians. We're like, well, we're going to tell an honest story, so like it or not, that's what we're going to do. And we lost a lot of money after that, but we wanted to be true to the story. And in the same way, there were some things that we wrote that we had Callie saying, her character saying, that we were like, is that cheesy? And then we were like, no, dude, she really believes this stuff. That we should let her say that, and we shouldn't be too scared to write things that Christians would say, and we can't be too scared to write things that non-Christians would say. So I think from the very beginning, we just set out to be as honest as we could in this film. So yeah, that's kind of always been our thing.
Why do people? All right, well, thanks. It's God. Well, at this point, I just wanted to get us rolling. So, like I said, I'll get off the stage, and I'll turn it over to all of you, and just open it up to any questions that you might want to have.
Yeah.
Is there a full version of Jesus that we can download?
Dude, the Jesus song is going to be on iTunes within the month, which is almost over, so I need to make sure that's up. Yes, you'll be able to download that very soon. That's actually one of my favorite parts of this movie. That's our writer that's actually seen that, and we had the most fun recording that song. So.
I grabbed it. So serious question or not?
No, that's great.
Yeah.
We rewarded the first question with a cross-dressing team. So
you are a proud owner of your own piece of cross-dressing apparel.
Abstinence is bad, man. If there's any way to bring the lights up in the house, that would be great, so I can see who I'm calling on. Any other question? Yeah, no?
As a director, what do you look for in your actors?
What do I look for in actors? It's funny. We tried casting in Austin, and it sucked. It was horrible. It was just really, and I'm sorry to say this, I don't envy the job of actors at all. It's really, really difficult. And we went out to LA. We got this amazing casting director who put us in touch with Shooter McGavin, and we just had the amazing opportunity to audition all these people. And I gotta say, there's a huge difference between actors in LA versus everywhere else in this country, because they're being pushed to be better. Wherever you are, I was in Waco, Texas, for gosh sakes. It's just hard to feel, pressure to go work as hard as you can when nobody else is pushing you. So in LA, that's very much there. So I think when we were out there, that's what we saw. What I look for is just honesty. I think you can get away with just straight up confidence too. The actors that we hired, it wasn't because we decided, it's because they came in and just owned the role. The girl who plays Callie, Johanna Brady, she's on Video Game High School. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that, but she came in. There was probably 75 girls that came in to audition for that role, And after she auditioned, we were like, that's her. Like, we have to. None of us knew who she was, none of us knew anything about her, but we were like, she just owned it. She got the role. And it wasn't until later we found out that she was also a Christian. And so it was amazing and just sort of a God thing that she just got it. She understood the role, and she ended up getting it. She and Sinqual Walls, who plays Tyler, the movie Black Hercules is what I call him. Those two were the only Christians in the cast, so it was a ball. Yeah. Yes, actually all of our movies are. This is actually up on, this is freaking everywhere. You can go buy this in Walmart and Target. It came out 2 weeks ago in stores. It's on Google Play, iTunes, Amazon Prime, all that. So please, guys, share the heck out of it. We're just a little indie film company out of Austin, so we would love the support.
Is there a story behind how Nick Optimate got involved in your cast? Just curious.
Yeah, Ron Swanson. Yeah, so the story is hilarious. So we finished production, and we had actually already shot that scene with a different actor, a local actor. And we had a little money left over, which never happens when you're finishing shooting a movie. And we had just enough to like make him a decent offer. But we didn't have the money for location scouting or set construction or production design. And so it was me and my writer buddy and my producer buddy. It's just three of us that all graduated together and decided to do this. And so we sent him the script, and he's like an outspoken atheist. I don't know if any of you know that, but he like hates Christians. And so we were like, what? Why does this guy want to be in our movie? And talking to him on set, he was just like, yeah, I just read it, it was hilarious, I want to be a part of it. And he echoed what we hoped he would think, which is that it was just honest. It wasn't beating you over the head with the gospel. But anyway, we didn't have the money to do any of those other things, so we got on Craigslist like a couple weeks before and booked this little venue to shoot the scene in. And we were at like Office Depot the night before buying supplies to make it look like an office. But we show up on set and it's in an abandoned foam factory in the middle of Compton. So like Ron Swanson rolls up and it's like Jetta, like the most random car. For Ron Swanson to be driving, he was just like looking around, he's like, nice. This is dangerous. We're like, I know, get inside. He was one of the nicest guys I've ever. I mean, he was just so polite and called everybody by their first name, and it was just. I never felt like there was anything important enough to talk to him about. So it was a fun time. Yeah.
Do you think, like, from a secular viewpoint, that this film would have encouraged people to see like what being a Christian was really about, or do you think that it more fueled people's view of Christians as hypocrites?
Yeah, I think what we aimed to do, I mean, like I said, we didn't try to push any sort of agenda. I'll say that first and foremost. But I think the thing that we hope happens is that secular culture can laugh at us while we're laughing at ourselves too. I mean, we know the things that we do are silly. All the praise hands, like, we know it's silly, from the outside looking in. But I think if we can laugh about it and we can like separate the culture from the gospel, then it opens up this avenue to talk about what's really important. And it gives us a chance to explain, like, yeah, those things, we look ridiculous, but there's a heart behind all of that. And it even showed up just shooting the movie, because we had Alex Russell, who plays the lead, he'd get up there on stage and preach, from the script, and it was really convincing. And then he'd get off stage and be like, can you explain, like, what's going on? Like, I'm really intrigued, like, I want to know more about it. And it was cool. I mean, like, everyone on set, even our crew, weren't Christians, and they just, you can't make a movie like this without talking about it. So we hope that it opens up those conversations. Yeah?
Question and comment. The question is, how did you go back to 1985 to get Tom Cruise in the movie? And then the comment is, when I heard about the idea of this movie, I was a missionary for 2 years in Russia, and I wanted to be offended by this. But you guys got it so right about how we kind of talk about God without, we talk about church and we do this without really including God, that it can, from the outside looking in, seem like sacrilege. And I think you did a great job.
Thank you. I totally understand that. I mean, when I was at Baylor, I would get wasted on a Saturday night and then go lead a Bible study on Sunday. You know, I mean, that was just part of the culture. And maybe you guys experienced that here too, that it's possible to fall more in love. Look at that. Everyone just look at the same guy. It is very easy to just fall in love with the culture. And you might tell everyone that you're a Christian, and you might not be. Because you might be in love with the culture, and that's a problem. I mean, that's a huge problem. It was a problem for me in college, and I think that's something that we should be able to talk about and own up to if that's where we're at. Because there is a difference between being a Christian and following Jesus. To your comment about Tom Cruise, Miles Fisher, who plays Pierce, he's the sarcastic dick in the movie. He's my favorite person. That guy is the man. He actually has some hilarious music videos online with like SNL characters and like all these famous people that he knows out in LA, but he's amazing and really talented. He's been on a bunch of TV shows too. Yeah, very cool. Miles Fisher, look him up. Yeah?
Yeah, from a storytelling aspect, you said bring the story and the message should follow. What was your core message that you wanted to portray? And did you start with the story and then bring the message? Or did you start with the message and then bring the story along?
Yeah, so this was our first movie, so we had no clue what we were doing. We wrote and rewrote this thing a million different ways. And especially the ending, we wrote like 15 different times. Half of you loved it, and half of you were like, what the heck just happened? So I think for us, the story was first. I mean, the whole concept of it, we came up with while we were touring our other documentaries, because that's our twisted sense of humor. But it was always about the story, and then we knew we didn't want to just like make joke after joke after joke and then just end it on a high note of all of us laughing, but actually challenge some of the things that we're talking about in there, because there are consequences. So there's a very dramatic shift in the movie. But yeah, I mean, it was story first, and then we started talking about the themes while we were kind of going along. So, yeah.
Kind of along the lines of that, what was your process when you were writing the script? How did you go about that?
The wrong way. We spent, Michael Allen and I, we just moved to Austin, we just graduated. We met at this bar called Spider House every night, had a Lone Star beer, and just wrote characters for like 4 months. You don't do that when you're writing a story. We came up with the most hilarious characters, but then we were like, now we have to like fit these characters we've already developed for 4 months into a story, and that's just not how you go about it. Typically, you start from the most climactic moment of a story and you work outwards. So we had to really go back, and like I said, I sent it to my professor at Baylor, he was a film professor of mine. He wrote me back like 9 pages, just destroying me, and this whole script, and I loved him for it. He's really opened our eyes to, you know, just things that we didn't see. What? Yeah, what up?
Well, during that whole learning about Christianity montage that they did with the Great Saints on that, were there any jokes that you guys had to cut out for time or anything like that?
Yeah.
Or throughout the rest of the movie, is there any joke you wish had made it?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm gonna tell you guys, but you can't. Don't spread this around, because no one thinks it's funny but me. But I'm gonna tell you because I got outvoted by everybody else. So originally, in the scene with Yale at the very, like when they're first getting on tour, I'm gonna get an email about this. Yale is like, hey, here's how microphones work. Don't be an idiot. And they're like, yeah, microphones, we get it. And he goes, yeah. Don't mess it up, because last year we had this guy who was backstage talking to his buddy about the plausibility that Jesus could have ever gotten a boner. 50,000 people heard it sparked an online debate, and it was the worst. Okay, I love that joke. I thought it was the funniest thing. And a serious debate ensued, and then I got outvoted, and we kept that out of the movie. I'm so sorry. So yeah, that joke didn't make it, sorry. That was apparently across the line. Woo, getting real. What else? What else?
Did I kill it? Okay. How did you come up with the plot of the movie? Yeah.
Dramatic pause. how did we come up? So we made this documentary before this movie called Beware of Christians, and Michael Allen and Alex Carroll and I and another buddy of ours went around Europe talking about what's it like trying to follow Jesus in college. And you just watch us struggle to do that. And we toured that movie for a year and a half, did 150 shows around the country, slept on dorm room floors, it was just a madhouse. And had my grandmother's minivan packed with DVDs. And just over the course of doing that whole tour, unfortunately, you kind of just come to a place where you just learn what Christians want to hear. And that's really twisted, but like we just knew it. Like we knew from the moment we walked in, based on how many people were there, we knew how many people were going to buy DVDs, we knew how many people were going to buy shirts, we knew how much money we were going to make, and we knew that if we delivered the gospel in a certain way, we'd probably make more money. And that's really messed up. But like we just were aware of it, and we didn't like take advantage of that by any means. But I think to us, we just ended up in so many small towns. In so many random states that we just had this twisted idea of what if like 4 really smart whip guys decided to take advantage of that. And then it kind of just turned into, well, there's a lot of funny things Christians do that they could mimic, and we just loved that idea. So, yeah.
So you went to Baylor, and you live in Austin now, and you set this movie in that area. So is there some specific reason you chose that location, just because you love it, or because it really drove the story in some way? And follow up, I'm going to Baylor this fall, so where do you recommend it?
VTEX Barbecue. You're gonna hate Waco. There's nothing there. There's some great restaurants. There's like 2 bars. That's it.
But there's coffee.
But there's great coffee. Yeah, we'll talk later about it. What was the question? Why did we set it? Oh, we set it in Austin, preferably UT. We just couldn't say it was at University of Texas for legal reasons. We decided on Austin rather than Waco or College Station because we didn't want them to go to a Christian school. That's it. Short answer. Take a few more and then we will hang out. What's up?
Can you talk about the ending thing? What the goal is with leaving it?
Yeah. Whew. Okay, just humor me. How many of y'all like the ending? Raise your hand. Like the ending. Interesting. How many of you get so frustrated by that ending? Pretty split. That's kind of what we were thinking was going to happen. Okay, so here's why we ended it the way that we did. So when we look at Scripture and we look at the prodigal son story specifically, the way that Jesus is explaining that story is he's explaining it to believers and non-believers. And at the very end, it's the father talking to the son, inviting him into the party, and then the story just ends. We never know if the older son goes into the party. If you're not a Christian, you're really confused right now, I'm sorry, but I'm talking to mostly Christians, whatever. So, the reason why we end the story the way we do is because Jesus ends his parables the way that same way sometimes, because it draws in both the Christians and the non-Christians to invite them into the story and ask, well, what do you think happens? And someone's like, oh, well, it's obviously this. And they're like, well, why do you think it's obviously that? And now you have a dialogue happening. And so for us, we didn't want Sam's character to be like, I'm sorry, I lied, and here's the honest side, because I honestly don't know if he could do that at this point. But we also didn't want him just to cover it up and be like, there's no hope, get out of the theater. So we kind of felt like it was a really good way of him telling the story about the rich young ruler who walks away sad, and we kind of end with this little smirk, thinking maybe he's comfortable being honest with where he's at, but we do leave it open-ended to invite people, whether they believe in Jesus or not, to just ask their friends, what do you think? And invite them into the story. We thought about it. Kind of. Let's do one more, and then I'll be hanging out, and we can, if you have any more questions, you can come up and talk, and we'll talk. And that's it. Yeah?
How hard has it been to find support, since you kind of go right in the middle of the secular and the Christian? You're pressing lines on both sides, so...
Yeah. It's like I teed up that question for you to be the last one. Yeah, so here's the deal. We're 26, the three guys, myself and my two best friends are 26. Two besties. We're my besties. We're 26 and we're in Austin and we made this movie, and the thing is a lot of distributors loved this movie, and they all said, I have no idea what to do with your movie. Like, I don't know who your audience is. And we're like, we just drove around the country for a year and a half. We've seen that people want this. We know that there's like college students out there that can respond to this. And they're like, well, we don't know how to reach them. We know how to reach far right-wing conservative Baptists with Fireproof and Courageous and those types of movies. That's what we do. And I was like, I hate those movies. They're like, we do too. Like, what are we doing here? And that's been the biggest problem for us, is that we don't know how to reach you guys unless I get on a plane and I fly out here and I show it to you. It really does take a village. It takes you guys sharing the movie with friends. And we released it in theaters, in 15 theaters in September. And it was on VOD also, it was on your TV sets, but it's just been really hard to reach out. And especially because the demographic is, most Christian movies, if you're on Facebook, the ads sound like this. Like God, like our movie. And we're like, we're not doing that. Like, we're not gonna make clickbait for Jesus. So it's just been hard. It's been hard to like not sell our souls to the industry and still keep with the voice, because it's just hard, because we're the laziest generation. You know, our attention span is so short. So it's partially not having the budget to reach you guys and to spend millions trying to like get to you. And it's just partially that, I don't know, we're filmmakers. We kind of got put in this place where we had to be marketers and distributors, and we're not very good at it. And I wish it wasn't that way, because I love this movie. I hope it gets out there more. But we've had some great support. Relevant Magazine's done a huge spread on it. It's talked about it a lot. They gave it like 8 of the most underrated films. I was like, great, because no one's seen it. New York Times gave us a great review, which was amazing. But you know, you're always going to face that battle with Christian films. We're doing this a lot. So. Anyway, so that's my encouragement, is obviously we're struggling, but I hope that you guys will share it and pass it around and tell your friends to order it, whatever you have to do. Thank you guys for letting me come out here.